Hey, Brad, it's Aaron. I have a pretty large traditional IRA that was originally a rollover from a 401k from a previous job. And over time, the traditional IRA has grown pretty large. What I would like to do is roll some of that over and convert it to a Roth. And I'm just wondering if you have any like rules of thumb for rolling over from a traditional to a Roth and what some of the tax implications may be of doing that. Appreciate the content. Keep it up, bud. See ya.
All right. So the differences between traditional and Roth. Real quick, I'll give like a little rundown of both. The Roth IRA, an amazing account. I've done many videos. I wish I could go back and make some more of them. Maybe one day when I get to 100,000 subscribers, I will. Can't do it right now necessarily because every time I post a video that's not options, I lose 50 subscribers. And, and I need that vanity 100K so I could put the silver play button right here. Once we get to 100K, I can go back to making Roth IRA videos. The traditional IRA is for somebody that really doesn't have access to a 401k because you can treat it as tax deferred. So you can treat a traditional IRA like a 401k, 403b, 457. Money can go in tax deferred. Later on in life, you are going to have to pay taxes when that comes out. Where the Roth is the opposite. You put money in first, you put post-tax money in, you're allowed to do this as long as you have earned income, and that is going to grow tax-free for life if all things stay the same. Now, couple things with rolling the traditional into the Roth. Number one, and here's something that people get caught up on. They know that they have to pay taxes because the money's in their tax deferred. But what they don't know is that you can't use that rolled money to pay taxes. So for example, like if you were going to roll 10 grand, you're like, all right, I'm going to owe like 2 grand in taxes. I'll just roll 8. That you can't do that because you're rolling it into a Roth IRA, which you can't touch till you're 59 and a half. So you can't access that money without penalty to pay the taxes. So if you are going to roll, make sure that you have the money at the end of the year to pay taxes on whatever you roll. That's going to be one thing you have to think about. The next thing you need to think about is, unlike contributions, conversions, things you roll, cannot be touched for 5 years. So if you are maybe closer to 59 and a half and you are going to move that money and you plan on or need that money, you're like, all right, I'm 57 years old. I'm going to roll that over and I'll grab that in 3 years when I turn 59 and a half. You are not going to be able to do that. Contributions you can take after you're 59 and a half, even if you put it in after 59 and a half. But rollovers or things like that, they have to wait in there 5 years. So depending on your age, you definitely have to think about that. Another reason that I don't want to keep money in my traditional IRA is because of the pro rata rule. And frankly, this current administration, if you have money in your traditional IRA, that is going to eliminate the backdoor Roth option for you. Okay. And you can Google the pro rata if you really need to understand that. It's essentially you're going to get taxed twice, right? Because when we want to do a backdoor Roth, we want to put money into the traditional just for a day and then put it and convert it into a Roth. But the pro rata, if you put money in, you're going to have to pay taxes. It's a video all in itself. That's another reason why I don't want money in my traditional, because I am over the income limit and I know that I want to use the backdoor Roth until Biden tells me I'm not allowed to anymore. But maybe you don't have to worry about the backdoor Roth. Maybe you can go right into the Roth IRA. So that really doesn't really bother you that much. The last other reason why I would transferred out of the traditional is because there's no RMDs inside the Roth. So if you have a traditional IRA, which you said has a large sum of money in it, one day you are going to take RMDs on that, required minimum distributions, where that will not be the case in the Roth IRA. I don't have any money in my traditional because I have those 403Bs and 401Ks and things like that. But I'll tell you this, as soon as I can, I'm going to start moving that money right into the Roth and do the Roth conversion ladder and know that the first one I put in is going to have to wait 5 years. And then I'll just have this ladder of money that's just going to grow tax-free. So depending on what that large sum of money is, like if there's 100K in there, you don't want to roll all that because then you have to come up with the money to pay taxes. But I would definitely think about, what age you plan on retiring And I frankly, especially if you have a 401k or something like that, you said this was from rollovers. If you have your own 401k that you're currently building right now, I'm going to try and get that traditional IRA to zero. I'm going to pay taxes on it. Taxes are pretty high. They might go up, they might go down. That's one thing to consider. Like if you're getting close to retirement and your taxes and your income's going to be low, and you're like, I'm going to be able to roll these at a really, really low tax rate, maybe you want to wait a couple of years. But the two things I really see people get caught up on when they move it is, one, they think that they can use the traditional IRA to pay the taxes they're going to owe on that rollover, and they don't consider the 5-year rule. I personally don't want any money in the traditional IRA for the reasons I said. Like the RMDs, I want to be able to use the backdoor Roth until Joe Biden or another Democrat tells me that I can't. And I love tax-free growth. And I think the money that I'm going to pay taxes on now, I hope to live to, I mean, what did Ricky Bobby say? With my high income and advances in technology, I don't see any reason why I'm not going to live till at least 450 years old. So I'm going to want to pay those taxes now and take the L now, and then have all of that grow till later in life. Let me know what you're going to do. We talk all the time. I'm curious. Thanks for the question. That wasn't options.